Welcome back, and we are joined by none other than the Lycan himself, Mr. Kevin Grevioux. How are you doing?
Not bad, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's an honor to connect with you here at Los Angeles Comic Con. I love what you're doing. Obviously, what I had known you from, for the voice and everything, was this character right here. What's the name of this character?
Raise
Yes. From Underworld, man, and then being able to see that you were kind of going into the comic books and all of that stuff, I was excited to kind of see and follow your journey. So tell me a little bit about your books.
Well, I started the company probably around 2005.
Okay.
It's basically a love letter to the comic books I grew up, reading. So I wanted to form my own company. And so after Underworld, some things that I'd done in the film industry, I said, maybe this is time for me to, take my shot. And so I created a line of comics under the auspices of a company called Darkstorm Comics and Media.
Okay.
So, I've done a lot over the years, the Underworld series, I produced that. ZMD, Gintara, my new Kickstarter book. Darkstorm, my own character. And basically, it was a way for me to tell my own comic book stories,
nice.
Using my own character.
Okay, so tell me about your comic book stories. Let's start off with because you just came out with the second one, right?
Yes, you're talking about Darkstorm.
Yeah.
So Darkstorm is an ex-Marine.
Okay.
Who really does not like superheroes because of the way they have bungled things, in the world.
Okay.
But then through a nuclear accident, really using 0-point energy, he becomes a superhero himself. And now he sees how things are done and how to right the wrongs that the previous generation of superheroes have really just messed up,
nice.
And that causes contention, within the world and amongst the superhero community. And so now they're all against him.
Okay.
And so it's basically about the conflict he has, trying to do the right thing with heroes who don't necessarily share his opinion.
Okay.
So yes, so that's one of them. Also, there's Gintara, who is a DC police detective.
Okay.
Who is on the heels of a serial killer that's been terrorizing the city.
Wow.
But she discovers along her travels that she is part of an ancient race of genies. And the conflict is, does she use these powers in her work, or does she succumb to their dark forces, things like that?
That's very interesting concepts right there.
Yeah, and so, things like that I really like. ZMD is about how the government has used zombies as weapons of mass destruction.
Okay.
And how it gets out of hand. And so, I like that one a lot as well.
Yeah,
so
man.
I got a couple, 3 things going on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like the concepts behind them. They're very vastly different and all of that, but they're very interesting, very unique.
Well,
what would you say your approach to storytelling is? Like, how do you go about that?
I guess my approach is to entertain first.
Okay.
To have something to say, and to keep a sense of morality,
Gotcha.
Why heroes are heroes, it's because they try to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And they don't always make it, but that's what they strive to do.
Yeah.
And the lessons you learn along the way.
Okay.
So, that's really my goal.
I got you.
Yeah.
So what would you say has been like, so you got the 3 different projects and everything going through different stories that you're taking, and coming from the big silver screen world and all of that, what would you say the challenge is when it comes to comic books that you had to kind of uniquely adapt to, whereas with
I think the salient difference, I think, is the way the medium is consumed.
Okay.
I think that with writing, with the written word, I think you have to make it so that it's communicative, in a way that film does that for you.
Okay.
Comic book storytelling isn't real writing, I'm saying? It's a truncated form of writing.
Gotcha.
And, the more communicative you are, the easier it is for people to understand what you're doing.
Right.
And there's also a certain amount of suspension of belief.
Okay.
Because you're not dealing with something that is based on, the real world visuals, you know what I'm saying?
I get you.
And so, but that still makes it more fascinating for me
Yeah,
too. You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right.
So I like that part. You know, in a lot of ways, I like comic books more than movies.
I get it. I get it. I kind of follow along the same lines because when it comes to getting the in-depth story and all of that, like, give you an example. I read a book by Rippaverse Comics called Alpha Core. And that was Eric July's comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. And he did a book with Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett did a book under that called Alpha Core. And I'm gonna tell you, that book had so many what I call bass drops. I call them bass drops because they're those big iconic scenes where it's like, you know, when somebody like Superman jumps up, pulls somebody up and like takes them up in the air or whatever, and then slams back down. Those big iconic things. And it becomes such a cinematic work of art to do so, but you get to display emotion and everything there. But then you also get that in-depth storytelling where sometimes you can go back and watch it, or in this case, read it, and you learn more and more about the characters that you may have passed up before. So I love that whole element too.
Good.
Yeah, so do you have any projects coming out? Anything new coming out anytime soon?
Yes, but nothing I can talk about right now.
Okay, gotcha. Everything on the hush hush now, huh?
Exactly.
Okay, so you have the Zombies of Mass Destruction. Mass Destruction.
Yes,
you got Darkstorm and Chitara.
Yes,
Man, that's awesome. I plan on picking up some of these books here to kind of really dive and follow along with your journey that you got going on
good.
here.
I appreciate that.
I'm excited to check it out. Thank you so much for giving me the
Anytime, brother.
It's so much fun. Y'all be sure to keep up. Check out, do you have a website?
Yes, Darkstormcomics.com.
Darkstormcomics.com. I love it. And be able to follow Kevin Grevioux.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Thank you guys so much for joining me. It's been so much fun. So much more coming from Los Angeles Comic Con. Y'all take care.